Jeffrey Sachs is our good friend and professor at Columbia University. Jeffrey believes the Trump administration's miscalculated how much pressure it would take to topple the Maduro regime. Why is that, Jeffrey?
They thought that by tightening the financial vice, the army would revolt and overthrow the government. This did not happen. It will not happen. And right now, there's basically a stalemate.
But you'll agree that it is only the army that is keeping Maduro in power.
Well, in a sense, the U.S. was trying to make a regime change like the U.S. often does. But there isn't going to be a regime change in that U.S. mode. What is needed is a path to new national elections and also not to break this country with famine.
Right, but are you calling for a lifting of sanctions?
I'm calling for a negotiated path where a government and the opposition, realizing the catastrophe that the country is in, says we need elections and we need stability because the economy has completely collapsed.
How can you say this when the opposition leader and self-appointed President Guaido tries to get aid in? The president says aid is not needed when it is desperately and life-threateningly needed.
Because the aid was a ploy that everyone watching knew well that it was an attempt to provoke a military rebellion, which did not work. Many people watching it close up were not surprised exactly, but I think the U.S. government was surprised. They were told, oh, this will be enough. This will flip the military. It was actually rather naive operation.
Okay, but you're taking the view, or it sounds that your view is more aligned to that of Sergei Lavrov and the Russian views concerning Maduro, which is to support or at least to work towards the continuation of the Maduro government.
The idea is to work to elections and to stop a catastrophic collapse of the economy and a hyperinflation. And that's what everybody in the neighborhood should want and almost all do want, which is a peaceful way out of this. And I do believe I've been part of such crises to help them get resolved peacefully, where you say, here's where we need to go. And both sides, government and opposition, agree no military interventions, no coups. We just get to free elections next year.
The concept of free elections is alien to the current government in Venezuela.
It could be, and if it proves to be alien, then what I'm saying would not work, certainly.
But what makes you think it will work?
Because there's a lot of discussion underway right now of government within the opposition saying, as a country, we need to find a way out, and nobody really wants a war there. And yet that was the prospect that some felt that Venezuela may be facing or was facing.
Would you be in favor of non-prosecution guarantees of some sort, or some sort of safety guarantees to Maduro and his chief henchmen, who many in Venezuela will want to see in a court of law?
I think what is crucial actually is a Venezuelan solution right now. What I'm saying depends on, may not be possible, but on an agreement between a government and an opposition that detests each other. But that can happen. It has happened in the past. I was a part of such an arrangement in 1989 in the democratic transition in Poland, and two sides that had battled each other in the streets, in martial law, in opening up, found a way for a peaceful transition. And that, I believe, is in Venezuela's interest, and I think it's feasible.
It was possible in Poland for 1,001 other reasons that were happening in neighboring countries, the fall of the Soviet Union at the same time, the work taken by the EU, or the EC as it was then, to bring Poland in. But I'm worrying...
It's interesting. One of the things that made it possible was the Polish Pope, Pope John Paul II. Now we have a Pope of the Americas who has said, I'm ready to help this process also, Pope Francis. And so I think it's not such a strange analogy, actually.
Jeffrey, finally, if it can't be done what is the answer? If your plan is well-meaning and possible, but some would say naive, but if it can't be done, what is the answer other than sanctions and pushing until the army rebels?
If this can't be done peacefully, there is no answer. What there will be is consequences that are dire and disastrous. So we hope that it can be done.
Good to see you, sir.
Great. Thank you very much.
For joining
Pleasure.
us on Friday. Have a good weekend.
You too.